oneflowyogi.com, and today we're discussing 4 tips for safe yoga while pregnant. Before we even get started with our tips, please know that you should consult your doctor or midwife before taking on any exercise routine while pregnant. Tip number 1 is called the wet sponge theory. Imagine you have this wet sponge around your midsection. This may sound incredibly obvious, that you would never want to wring out this wet sponge, but it can help you while you're in a yoga practice. Thinking about something external. So for instance, we know that we shouldn't lay on our bellies or do anything that would create compression for the baby. But think about twists. I get a lot of questions about twists. So if I'm in a yoga class where I'm instructed to go into my knee, this is bringing a lot of compression. So thinking about that wet sponge theory can help you go, this is probably not safe for me or a baby. But an alternative, you can twist the other way. So here I can bring my elbow inside my knee, twist away, and this is a very safe alternative for anyone pregnant while in a yoga class. Tip number 2, use your props. You may not feel as comfortable or know what to do with props. That's for a different video to really talk about every single pose and what you can do. But for a quick tip, blankets are fantastic. They're a great place to support any seated posture. Our pelvic floor changes a lot. We want to make sure that we have support there, as well as for our hips. There are other things that you can do using bolsters, as well as yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can always use a big book. And for a bolster substitute, just take a nice big quilt and roll it up. You want something that's nice and firm. It's not incredibly squishy like a pillow would be. An example of how we can use our props, for instance, if we're in a yoga class where we're laying on our back, we can use our bolster, blocks, and a blanket to support us. In this pose, what we'll do is we'll take our blocks at 2 different heights. If you would like a bigger incline or a smaller incline, you can simply use 1 block to support you. Then from here, take our blanket to make sure that we support the lower part of our body. Go ahead, come on down. And here's a safe place for me to be laying on my back. So here I can do any posture. So if I am taking a strap around my foot, it's perfectly safe. Now again, coming back to tip number 1, if I were to do any twists, so for instance, if the teacher were to instruct to bring this knee over, that would be compression. But an easy thing that I can do, just open up the leg instead. So this is a wonderful way to open up the hips and still participate in my yoga class. To get out of this posture, we want to make sure we don't crunch up. Just simply bend the knees and roll over to the side, and then I'm up, nice and safe. What should I do for a vinyasa flow class? I still like the flow, but it's really difficult for me to transition from my plank, chaturangas, upward facing dog and back. First, make sure that you take it your pace. If this is something that you are interested in, you can always use this bolster here. And depending upon how far along you are, you might be able to, or might need to, use another blanket. So here, I'll come into my plank pose. Definitely recommend coming onto your knees unless it feels really good for you to be in a full plank. You can take your chaturangas as you normally would. You'll see there's tons of room for baby here. I can come into that cobra, or I can come into a sphinx pose. This can actually feel fantastic for pregnancy. A nice amount of space here, wonderful stretching the front body. Come on back into my tabletop, and then anywhere that I need to with my flow. Tip number 3, resist the urge to be Gumby. We have this amazing hormone in our body called relaxin when we're pregnant. And what it does is it helps our body shift and move, so there's tons of space for baby. Well, maybe not tons, but enough room for baby and the birthing process. But what this does is it can encourage us to overstretch. We do not want ligament damage after baby is born. So a way we can avoid this is by only going to that 80-85% of our stretch. If we cannot smile during a hold, then we've gone too far. So for instance, if I'm in a forward fold, instead of really thinking about I must get down to the ground, Think about being nice and tall in the spine, slowly coming forward until you find that sweet spot where you can still smile, but feeling an opening going on. Then let go of the shoulders, the neck, the face, the jaw, and come into that fold. Tip number 4, once you've gone through the wet sponge theory, making sure that there's no compression for baby. Second, you're using your props. Third, making sure that you're not going to that max stretch, that you're finding a nice 85% of your stretch. The fourth one is, does it feel good? If it feels good, fantastic, keep it going. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. No need. Even if you see it in a prenatal yoga class or in a book that says this is really good for pregnancy, don't worry about taking it if it doesn't feel great for you. Thank you so much for joining us for the 4 tips for safe yoga while pregnant. If you have any thoughts about yoga during your pregnancy, or if you're pregnant right now, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. It will be useful for our community. And if you're interested in seeing future videos, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much.